at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. Welcome to Tiger Talk Live, all things Westfield Technical Academy. You're in the flow. You're back in the flow after a long hiatus with Rob and Joe. Good morning, Mr. O'Leary.
Good morning. The flow's been low the last couple weeks.
The flow has been low, but here we go.
Oh, boy.
On with the show.
Yes.
Don't you know?
Don't you know? Hey, Joe.
So how have you been, Mr. O'Leary? It's been
boy, we would need
4 weeks at least.
Yeah, we would need a long show to go through everything. But you know what? It's good. It's a good day here. It's beautiful out. There's a lot going on. We got a good show. It's good to be back. For me, good to have you back. We're kind of in our home court back at Tigers Pride.
It's going to take a little bit of an adjustment after all of those programs at the former but lovely press room and beautiful downtown Westfield, which I miss dearly.
And as you know, when it's on our own turf, there's between point A and B, there's constant calls on the radio, parents calling on the phone. So when we leave campus to do the show, it's kind of like, okay, that's our focus. Now that
Hoodwink factor, if you will.
Now that it's here, a plethora of things will come up at any given time. But it's
and God knows this is the time of the year too. It's
Oh, my
insanely
goodness.
busy, and we're sort of in the downhill slide to the end of the school year, and there's a lot of stuff on the horizon that's coming fast and furious.
So where you been the last few weeks?
Well, I've been up to my eyeballs in diapers and bottles and
Yeah.
laundry and lunches and trips back and forth to St. Michael's Academy with my other 3 kids. So it's great to come back to work. It's a little bit of a breather.
Sure.
Actually, as busy as it is here, it's more relaxing than it is at 111 Wilbur Street. So
And baby Vincent's doing well?
Baby Vincent is doing very well. I'm thrilled to say that he's actually a really good-natured kid. He cries when he's hungry, and that's about it. The rest of the time, he's just kind of chilling and loving life. The one thing that we wish we could sort of turn around more quickly than we're doing it is his sleep pattern, because he's 1 o'clock in the morning, he's wide awake. He's not fussy, he's not crying, he's just like this, wide-eyed and
ready to go.
looking for a little attention. And then 10 o'clock in the morning, he's dead to the world. So we got to turn that around, because my wife's got to go back to work in a couple of weeks, and I can get by on a little bit of sleep. She's exhausted.
Yeah, need your sleep, boy.
She's been doing an awesome job. It's the funny thing too is that 6.5 years between this baby and my last child, it was like starting from scratch again.
Yeah.
All of the things that I had forgotten, and I pride myself on being a fairly intelligent individual. I roamed around the first 2 or 3 days after the baby was born like an idiot trying to remember stuff.
Yeah. And no disrespect, but no spring chicken.
Well,
as you
this is true. Now that I've rounded the corner to my golden years, it takes a little more out of me than it did when my oldest was born, but it's all good.
As active grandparents, it's I tell you, I'm exhausted. I mean, and we're only a couple years apart, but it's.
Well, I started late. I didn't get married until I was 40, so.
You'll do fine.
Second chapter of my life.
Second time around, if you will, Shalimar. Anyways.
Wow.
Well,
where do we even begin?
I'm going to begin with the car show, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Because
Mr. Coggin in the wings.
We have Mr. Coggin, esteemed alumni, also instructor in our precision manufacturing, also co-advisor of our auto club, race club. What's motorsports? Thank you.
Get him up here to say a word. I mean, after all,
live studio audio. Come over, Mr. Coggin. Welcome to the show. So we got a car show coming up. WTA's first motorsport car show.
Maiden voyage, if you will.
Yeah.
So welcome. Thanks for the impromptu stop-in.
All right, yeah, thanks.
Push the show.
So it's a callback to a car show that was held here at the school many, many years ago. I remember seeing them as a kid, and we thought it would be a really good fundraiser for our club. It's obviously fitting with it, the club being a motorsports club, bringing in a bunch of cars, and so that way the students can interact with different people and check their cars out, and also it's a good cause for our club, generating money to throw into our club car.
Excellent. About how many students are part of the club?
It varies week to week, but around a dozen consistent members.
From some of the different shops?
Oh, yeah.
That's what's nice.
Yeah, all over the place.
Great collaboration, manufacturing, auto tech, auto collision, so, very comprehensive scope.
Those are the advisors, manufacturing, auto tech, and auto body. But the students that are part of the club are all the way from IT to graphics to, the auto shops. And
that's so cool.
Yeah.
And I believe, Pete, you might know this, but isn't that the Fast Fleet 5K in
19th? Yes.
In Westfield?
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of activity in Westfield.
Yep.
That weekend, that day. So
yeah, it's going to be a busy day. Hopefully we get some good weather.
I hope so. So yeah, if you're running down that road,
may actually be spring.
Stop by here. Yeah, stop by here.
Stop by here.
Or if you have a classic car, park here and walk over.
Yeah, there you go.
You could set it up, display it, and walk away.
Excellent.
Yeah, spectators are free, and show cars is just a small donation. We'll have a 50-50 raffle, and we'll have some. We'll have a half a dozen trophies to give away that are going to be made by precision manufacturing. So it'll definitely be pretty cool. They're not going to be off-the-shelf trophies, so should be a good time.
And that will be right on our campus?
Yeah, we'll do it right on the upper campus grass grass lawn, I guess you want to call it.
All right, very cool.
Yeah, weather permitting.
Awesome.
So May 19th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
10 to 2,
Looking
yep.
forward to
Stop
it.
by, come and say hi. All right,
Definitely.
hey, thanks for
Forward to it.
stopping in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. So what else do we got on the docket, Mr.
Oh
O'Leary?
boy. Well, I just want to kind of publicly say thank you to all our staff members and our 10th grade students in particular. For last week's MCAS ELA English Language Arts, we had 100% attendance.
Fantastic.
So every one of our 10th graders took the MCAS. That is huge to get every student in here to complete
Yeah, I don't
that.
think a lot of people in the public know that as part of our accountability, as part of the state accountability structure, performance on MCAS isn't the only MCAS criteria for a school's accountability level. It's also the percentage of participation, and if a school dips below 90%, it affects the level ranking of the school. So the fact that we did 100% participation on English Language Arts is awesome. My hope, my belief is that we'll do the same during math testing, which comes second or third week of May, and then we round out the year where the freshmen are going to be taking science unpleasantly during the week of graduation this year, but we'll make all of those
We'll make it work.
We'll make it work.
You know, and a thank you to the parents and grandparents too, for letting their students know this is important. They need to be here on time and punctual. And I'm just, I'm entrenched in MCAS, so it's for 2 weeks. It's on my radar screen. That's all I think about. So I'm so happy that everyone took it.
To the credit of the 10th graders, I mean, you hear me say it to them all of the time, to the other classes as well. We are frequent in reminding people that everything that we do isn't in isolation, right? Everything that we do has some effect on someone or something else, and the same is true of MCAS. Nobody likes to sit for a long standardized test, but in addition to being about an individual's graduation, it's also about the ranking, the state status of the academy. So it's not just important as an individual credential or criteria, it's also important for our school and the reputation of our school. So thank you to everybody who participated and who encouraged participation. We couldn't do it without you.
Excellent. And I know Angelina? Angela. I know. I'm sorry. I got Angelina.
Alexopoulos, if you will.
My aunt. I got my aunt on my brain. Angelina.
Two Italians sitting at the table who both have an aunt, Angelina.
Angela. You have to leave shortly to go with Mrs. Bean regarding the Westfield Promise. So I would like to get Ms. Tyberski. We have Ms. Tyberski with us today.
Good morning.
Louis Prima, Angelina, the waitress at
the pizzeria. Yeah. Maybe we could cue that one up. But anyways, I know you have to go. So can we kind of just jump right into it, and then
Sure.
we'll circle back with some other things?
Sure.
By the way, good morning, Mr. Bursky.
Good
Ms.
morning.
Tyberski,
Very
Jasmine
glad to be
Brooks, Ms. Cole,
Jordan Cole.
and Ms. Alexopoulos. Okay, all from Business Tech.
Yes.
So thanks for being here today. What do you got going on in
Well-
Business Tech and all things beyond?
Right. Well, this has been a super year for Business Tech. We've had so many great students join us as freshmen. We're full. We are at our capacity. But along with that, some of our senior students have done some spectacular things, and I'd like to share that this morning with you if I
please.
can.
That's why
Please
we're here.
do.
Number one on our docket is Bree Hoffman. She's a senior. She has been on the advisory committee for 3 years. She has done some stellar things. She was also nominated as the outstanding vocational student in her class.
Yeah, and that celebration is tonight, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
is tonight in Worcester. Yes. Last year, Ina Anipko from Business Tech won it.
That's right. 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
Back
We're
to
on a
back.
streak. So yes, Bree will be receiving her award. It's a lovely time. There's about 52 other students from other schools that will be there. Great dinner, and we're just so proud of her. And we're hoping that next year the streak continues.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm kind of sensing a trend here, aren't you, Mr. O'Leary? I mean, after all.
I just said to our students today, I can foresee at least a 3 or 4 year streak.
All right, let's not get ahead.
I know.
Let's
Don't
not get
get
ahead of
too
ourselves.
excited.
Year by year. No, you guys do a great
Hey,
job.
listen, positive self-image,
That's
nothing
right.
wrong with
That's
that.
And our director, I believe, is attending tonight, right? Pete Talumis.
That's right.
Yes, he is.
Mr.
He is.
Talumis
Yep.
is representing the administration.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm on a short leash because of, diapers and bottles, but I will be there with you in spirit for sure.
Great.
Are you heading down?
I am not. Mrs. Falsetti is going to take our place.
Okay.
I went last year. This
Okay.
year I have a commitment, so I can't get away from it. So Mrs. Falsetti will be
Super.
attending with Bree,
So it's
Mr.
Pete,
Talumis.
Deb, Bree, Bree's
And-
mom and dad.
I think her mom. I'm not sure about her dad, and I think probably one of her siblings. will be
Excellent.
Very
going.
nice.
So,
Very proud of
should
her.
be yes, very proud.
Yeah.
Along with that, we have Bree and our student Jasmine, who participated in skills. Bree took gold in customer service, and Jasmine took a bronze in customer service. So we're very, very proud of.
Was it Mrs. Belarjan on last? I believe Pete, our own Pete Coles did a hostile takeover of our show.
Host, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody had to do it.
So
I was like, we
yeah.
don't have a
So
host.
just to harken back, that was the regional skills competition,
Right.
right? And then
District.
or district rather,
District.
excuse me. And then Jasmine, states are not next week, but the week after, correct? I think so. I think the week after we get back from vacation. And for those, for people who aren't familiar with the whole Skills USA process, for students who received silver or gold medals, they can then go on to state. So
Right. We also have 4 individuals participating in entrepreneurship. They didn't have to compete at the district level. They automatically go forward.
Right.
So they had to write their business plans and submit those already, I think with 11 copies, and they will be judged at that next competition.
And they
So-
were, Karen, who of the 4,
Anthony,
just so we can recognize them?
Anthony Marikov, Donna Stiba, Angela Shevchenko, and Hannah Massoni.
Hannah Massoni, good.
Right,
So
right.
congratulations
Yeah,
to all of
congrats to
them,
them.
too. That's a big undertaking, just the sheer volume of the paperwork.
Yes, yeah. They really had, it was crunch time, and my understanding is some things changed at the last minute that they weren't aware of, so they were working right until the deadline. But they did a
11th
great
hour,
job.
if you will. All right, so what else is going on?
What else?
I mean, as if that weren't enough.
We have a list. FBLA, we participated in our conference and competitions this past Monday.
For our audience,
Future Business Leaders of America.
thank you, who may not know what the acronym stands for.
Correct. We were pretty fortunate. We had some third places in business law and global business. Anastasia came in third in both of those.
Wow.
Quite incredible. I didn't realize this. Global business, what they do is they take some pre-tests before they go, and based on those pre-tests, determine if they get to compete at the competition itself. Global business required that. They did not tell us who the winners or the top 4 people were until we got to the conference. We got stuck in traffic because this was just outside of Boston. So we were a little late. Anastasia was handed a piece of paper with a scenario for global business about tariffs, and she had literally 2 minutes to come up with something, and then
Ouch.
she had to compete in front of a judge.
Oh, my goodness.
A panel of judges. So she pulled third. I don't know how.
That's
That's
incredible.
But
amazing,
that was
really.
thinking on her feet. And we also had Veronica Solokina and Anthony Marikov for publication design. So they put a lot of effort into that. That was a pre-entry, but they did very well too.
Anthony and Veronica, no strangers to the main office at the Westfield Technical Academy. They've been interning, actually, Veronica, since last year during her shop weeks, helping out in the main office on the phones. 2 awesome students.
Yeah,
So.
great asset to the front office.
So I should continue.
Yeah, you should.
Please, please.
Jasmine, who is here today.
Jasmine, how many times have you been on the show now?
Like 3 or 4.
That's awesome. Thank you. It's catching up to Don
Jasmine,
Rickles.
come
on
up closer to the
On
microphone.
the Tonight Show, if you will.
Along with Anna Anipko, have been nominated for Society of Women Engineers out of Hartford, Connecticut.
Congratulations.
This is a certificate of merit for 3 years of excellence in science and math. So
Question. So this is separate from FBLA.
Oh, yes.
So how
Yes.
did Jasmine? I'm just curious. How did you get involved with this kind of initiative? Because you ladies are obviously very busy. So What sparked your interest with this? Like, tell us a little bit about women in engineering and.
I actually didn't know about it till like last minute.
Okay.
'Cause I think Miss Arvanites nominated us for it.
Okay,
and
awesome.
it was just, it's like 3 years of excellence in math and engineering.
I see.
So it's not on the shop side of your studies, it's on the
No, it's-
academic side.
yeah.
Academic performance. Oh my gosh.
But I thought it was pretty interesting because when you read the qualifications, it says a male and a female, yet guidance decided to pick two young ladies, which was awesome, to fill that.
Yeah, that is
position.
super.
So that's another banquet that we will be participating in down the road. I'm not sure what the
Developing
date is.
quite a resume, Jess,
Yeah.
She sure has.
which is a good thing.
National Tech Honor Society too. I'll
Well,
throw.
yeah,
I'll
Well,
lest
throw
we
and
out.
that
forget
was
that.
Was that on your list? I didn't mean to jump.
We have numerous juniors and seniors on NTHS. It's just incredible. It started last year with a roll of seniors when they were juniors, and now the juniors have participated. So quite phenomenal, and we're very proud of our
We
students for
sure
that.
are.
I think that Angela and, all three of them actually can talk about co-op. Currently, we have 13 out of 20 juniors and seniors out on co-op. And these young ladies are at the Gas and Electric and Aero Fastener, so I don't know if they might want to talk a
Yeah,
little
let's
bit.
hear from Angela. I'd love to, as a junior, to go out on co-op. That's pretty impressive. We don't have many juniors.
Yeah, that's not necessarily the norm. That's right.
Right.
Well, I'm on co-op at Aero Fastener in Westfield, and basically I'm just doing customer and vendor quotes. I work a lot in Excel spreadsheets, really big ones that have like thousands of rows. And it's a really great learning experience. I'm learning new stuff every day, and it's great because I get to make my own hours. 40 hours a week, I get paid.
So you don't come to school during your shop week.
No.
So that's pretty incredible. You're a junior, you do a week of academics, and then you work for a week and get paid. Did you feel like when you went to work at Aero that you had like the competencies and the knowledge to kind of jump right in, or was there a lot of like on-the-job training?
There was a lot of training. I've been on co-op for about 3 weeks now, and through those 3 weeks I've had a lot of training, and I'm kind of settling in now, but there's still a lot to learn and practice. It's going to take a lot of time, so.
And
We want to give a shout out, by the way, before I forget, to our partners at Aero Fasteners. They have been phenomenal in
They sure
terms
have.
of their openness to accepting our students over the years for co-op opportunities, and they've been very generous to our program. So we'd be really remiss if we didn't give them yet another public shout out. They
Yeah.
certainly deserve it.
Well, along with that, we were doing a fundraiser to try to improve our software. Both Aero Fastener and Gas and Electric both gave us $1,000 towards that, and Westfield Bank also gave us $250.
That's right, so-
with their funding and their help, we're able to now increase
Some upgrades, yeah.
Yeah, it's something we desperately needed. So we can't thank them enough.
Yeah.
They've been fabulous.
that's very nice. And where are you heading? You're leaving campus shortly, Angela? What's going on with that?
Well, I'm a part of the Westfield Promise program, which is basically I'm taking a college class, and they had enough funds to have it all paid for. It's worth 3 college credits, and every Tuesday and Thursday, the professor comes to our campus and teaches a class. It's a really great opportunity, and I'm going to have a tour of the library. And next year, I'm going to be taking up to, I think, 3 classes on campus.
Oh
So
my
I'll be
goodness.
leaving here academic weeks also to go to the college campus.
Angela, for the benefit of the people in the audience, what is the class that you're taking this year?
English Composition 101.
Right, so it's a gen ed requirement, right? So not only an opportunity to earn some credits, but it's an opportunity to get some required coursework out of the way early. So it's it's a two-for opportunity.
Actually, we really try to push our students to take those extra classes. Heather Lannon, who is a senior who will be graduating soon, has taken so many classes and taken advantage of our articulation agreements and the classes that she has taken at the college level that she probably has almost a year
I would say a year of
a
college.
year of college under
At
her
least.
belt.
Already, yeah.
Yeah.
And she hasn't even graduated high school yet. So she has done, along with Bree, Heather has done a fabulous job in our program.
There are tremendous opportunities, certainly far more than when we were in high school, available and they're all there for the taking. So, hats off to folks like Angela and Heather and the rest of your cohort who have the ambition and the drive to realize that these are opportunities that are too good to pass up.
Right. And I don't know if Jasmine wants to talk a little bit about the gas and electric.
All right, well, we'll stand by for a moment. Producer Pete's given us a signal that it's time for a break, so we're going to pay some bills and we'll be back. Stay tuned.
Your green eyes with their soft lights, your eyes that promise sweet nights, bring to my soul a longing, a thirst for love divine. In dreams I seem to hold you, to find you and enfold you, our lips meet and our hearts too, with a thrill so sublime. Those cool and limpid green eyes, a pool wherein my love lies, so deep that in my searching for happiness I fear that they will ever hold me. All through my life they'll taunt me, but will they ever want me? Green eyes make my dream come true.
Soft lights and eyes that promise sweet nights bring to my soul a longing, a thirst for love divine. In dreams I seem to hold you, to find you and then fold you, our lips meet and our hearts too, with a thrill so sublime. Those cool and limpid green eyes, a pool wherein my love lies, so deep that in my searching for happiness I fear that they will ever haunt me. All through my life they'll taunt me, but will they ever want me? Green eyes, I love you.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Thursday morning from 6 till 8, it's Patrick Berry, owner of the Westfield News Group.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
And we're back. Welcome back to Tiger Talk Live. All things Westfield Technical Academy. Back in the flow with Rob and Joe after a long hiatus, but great to be back. Being in Tiger's Pride makes us think about lunch service in the menu, and I just wanted to remind folks today.
They're setting up for a buffet.
That's right, with classical French all-you-can-eat buffet today. So come on down if you don't have any previous plans for lunch.
By the way, Joe, did you catch any of the shows that these guys did up in the studio?
I did. Little bits and pieces. Where I am in Springfield, I had a hard time getting the station. It's funny. If Kevin fills in for me and I have a an engagement like out in Marlboro, Boston way.
Yep.
I can't tune into the station while I'm in Springfield, but the minute I get on the Pike, I often have reception as far as Sturbridge.
Yep. Yeah.
So I get little dribs and drabs, but
they had fun up in the studio. The first week I threw them for a loop.
It's a nice setting, actually. I kind of like the studio.
You got to get used to your surroundings.
Absolutely.
Different element.
Yeah.
Acclimate, if you will.
Right.
We also want to remind folks that the Pride is not open tomorrow because the staff and the students will be cleaning up in preparation for April vacation, which is next week. And that means that we will not be on the air next week. It's, just the minute I get back, I'm going back out again.
That's
but
right.
We will look forward to being back with everybody on April 23, 24, 26. All right.
And we're going to be featuring some things with our baseball team and some fundraising.
That's right.
An exciting show coming up for that.
Yeah, as we said earlier, there's a lot coming very quickly. Not the least of which was graduation. While I was home on paternity leave, I was actually preparing the graduation program, and I started writing my graduation speech, which seems kind of counterintuitive in March, but when you start counting the days, we're almost there.
It comes quick.
We're almost there.
So hey, before we jump back to
the 107th this year
commencement
exercises of the Westfield Technical
Academy. You don't
Academy.
look a day over 50.
I feel good. Thank you for noticing.
Son of a gun. Before we jump back to Ms. Tyberski and Business Tech, I just want to also let some folks know that behind the scenes, the alumni committee, the Westfield Tech Alumni Committee, really representing the school going way back and all the 5 names of which it functioned under, they're making some really good groundwork putting this alumni
Phoenix from the ashes, if you will. Actually, it's a rebirth.
They're doing a great job, and shout out to Beth and her committee. But we will be
just a shout out, business tech student.
Hey, that's right,
Beth.
That's correct, and thank you for that lead. She's done an incredible job. I've attended the last couple meetings, and she's the right person to take this alumni committee to the next level. But we will be hosting the first alumni tour and luncheon on May 11th. So if any alumni would like to check out the school, there's been many changes, obviously. On May 11th, I'll be hosting a tour of no more than 20 alumni, and then we'll be coming down to Tigers Pride for lunch. They will be responsible to buy their own lunch, but if you'd like to come, you can certainly call 572-6533, or you can stop in the school and ask for Rob Olari. Email us, search the Facebook page. I don't know if they've got that up and running, but if you want to come on May 11th, call the school or stop in and see me, And it's just one of many cool things they got in the hopper. So I wanted to get that out there.
That's a busy day because May 11th is also, that evening is our junior-senior prom at Chez Joseph this year.
Yeah.
Following Friday is the semi-formal for the underclassmen, the freshmen and the sophomores.
Right.
And then we've got Memorial Day, then we've got senior breakfast, then we've got graduation. It's
That's right.
I'm running out of breath.
Wow. Wow. This time of year, you don't sit still.
That's for sure. So thank you for the car show coming up, alumni, a lot of other great things going on at the school and the city. And let's get back to business tech and all the great things you guys are involved with.
Sure. Well,
Where do we leave off?
Well, I think we were going to talk about entrepreneurship.
Okay. Let's talk about entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship is a junior class. It's our related class, whereby students have the ability to learn how to start their own business. They write an entire business plan, which is something that is superb. And they get to market their products, and eventually they get to sell them. Both young ladies here today are part of that, so I'll let them talk a little bit more about it.
As they pointing at each other to see who's going first.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. My business is selling sea salt caramels. So we had to...
Oh, Mrs. Langoni, big contributor right there.
Yeah, so with the project we had to come up with our logo, our business name, our, what do you call it, tagline? Or Yeah, tagline, and we had to come up with like what we want, our startup investments, and what we project on what we're going to sell, what our give back is going to be. So we have to come up with a way we're going to give back after the sale days. So I'm giving 5% of my profits to the March of Dimes.
Nice.
Is that something new? The give back?
No.
Okay.
It's always been part of the business plan.
Boy, that's nice.
Yeah.
That little community aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it's called like our social responsibility,
Sure.
I believe. And along with that, there's just a lot of things. It just gives us insight on what goes on in the background of most businesses, just dialed down.
What's really nice about after they create the business plan and they go through the process of selling, they do create financial statements at the end, so they learn how to do a profit and loss statement, which they already learned in accounting, but it's a way to reinforce and utilize the skills that they learned
Yeah, it's got some
earlier.
context at this point.
Exactly.
I know you do a little bit with QuickBooks. Do you integrate QuickBooks in
We
there?
don't integrate QuickBooks into that project because really the entrepreneurship is a related class.
Sure.
So they're not in shop when they're working on it.
Sure.
So it's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
But also one of the nice things that Deb does with the students is there will be a ultimate champion for entrepreneur, and they win a gift card and a few other little things just to show their competency and what they've accomplished.
Excellent.
Are they? Do you guys, ladies, work independently, or can you work in a team?
Independently.
You have to do it on your own.
Yeah, we've tried doing the team thing, and sometimes that's a little bit difficult, just because making choices and people's strengths and weaknesses. Sole proprietorships are a little bit better than partnerships when it comes to this kind of endeavor.
As longtime business owner, sole proprietorships definitely have an advantage over corporate partnerships.
Yeah.
I can attest to that. So that's very cool.
But Jordan has a spectacular idea, and I think this is going to be a hit this year. So, Jordan.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so my business is called Sweet and Succulent, and the little tagline that I have is called Delicious Dirt, and it's going to be edible succulents like the plants.
Yeah.
They're kind of like cactuses, not really, but the way that I'm going to make it is I'm going to buy chocolate rocks and bake cupcakes, and I'm going to like squish them together to make it look like dirt, and I'm going to have pudding at the bottom, and I'm going to have little Dixie cups that are painted in white. To make it as like the little placeholder that like holds it. And then the way that I'm gonna make the actual plant itself is I'm gonna do candy melts, and I'm gonna put them in little molds to make it look like the plant itself. So that's the way that I'm gonna make it.
Wow. Can't wait to see that.
I can't
I can't wait to try it,
just
actually.
sounds great.
And try it.
So
How'd you come up with that one, Jordan?
I don't know, I've always loved plants as a kid and everything like that. So I just thought it would be something cool. And Jasmine was actually the one who helped me come up with the business name, Sweet and Succulent. And I thought it was a really cool idea to do it.
Oh, competition, but yet collaboration.
Definitely.
In the workplace.
Definitely.
Very good.
Some of the other things that'll be sold, I guess, are necklaces, jewelry, chocolate pretzels, cream horns, which I'm excited about. But we'd love to welcome the public to come in. The sale dates are
what I was just going to ask, Karen, when is all of this going to be happening?
4/27 and 5/3. It will start at 12 o'clock and run till about 1:30. All the students have to prepare their tables. They have to prepare their business cards. They will have all of their financial and information that they've prepared will all be at the table. Part of this is also marketing. They have to design what their tables will look like, how they're going to attract their customers. This week they'll be printing out all of their flyers and getting them out amongst the schools so the school is aware of it.
So the 20th, that's the week we come back the Friday we come back from vacation. That's
correct.
Fast and furious.
It is fast and furious, and all the students and Mrs. Falsetti are on the edge of their seats because this is crunch time.
The hardest thing for me is I want to go and buy everything because, you have all your students and it's kind of difficult because...
the support of the school is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Every shop shows up. The academic teachers really try to make an effort to come down. And I'll tell you, a lot of the academic teachers make sure that they buy something from every student. And we can't thank them enough because it's a great collaborative effort.
I got cleaned out last year. I came with $40. I got cleaned out.
Yeah. They make excellent Mother's Day gifts.
I was going to say.
Some of our students actually have kept doing this. We had one young lady selling jewelry. She sold out. I think she won that particular year. And then she ended up doing jewelry for weddings.
Very cool.
So her business sort of lasted a little longer. Some of the other kids are really interested in becoming wedding cake kind of planners. So they've done that on the side along with
cottage industry, if you will.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you mentioned the public...
we would love the public to come in.
And it's held in our cafeteria.
Held in the cafeteria.
So the public should come to the front door, that be buzzed in. They could just say they're here for the entrepreneurship.
Right.
I would imagine we would have some parents and maybe relatives, hopefully.
Hopefully.
That would be
they are
nice.
all invited.
Okay.
We'd like to invite our advisory committee also.
Sure.
That will be going out shortly. Try to get them to come in and see what our kids do because our advisory committee is so great and they're so supportive that we'd like to let them actually see our kids in action.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. Producer Pete's given us a signal that it's that time again, so please stay tuned and we'll be back.
Of what I might have on my mind. One thing you can be sure of, I'll take good care of your love. If you will let me give you mine. Lady, willpower, it's now or never. Give your love to me. Shower your heart with tenderness endlessly. Did no one ever tell you facts of life? Well, there's so much you have to learn, and I would gladly teach you if I could only reach you, and
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Underwriting for WSKB's community radio programming is brought to you in part by CrossFit Swarm, offering CrossFit, Beck's Body Express boot camp style classes, as well as SwarmFit cardio fitness classes, incorporating fitness moves and choreographed to fun, upbeat music. CrossFit Swarm's coaches provide the most current, highest quality training, nutrition, and fitness programs. On the web at CrossFitSwarm.com or at 4 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Wally Computer Associates, one of the largest technology providers in North America. Headquartered in Southwick, Wally provides all of the products and services that you'd expect from a world-class technology partner to schools, colleges, businesses, as well as state and local governments and agencies. Wally Computer Associates, meeting all of your technology needs. On the web at WCA.com. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
And we're back. Tiger Talk Live, the return of Tiger Talk Live, back in the flow with Rob and Joe. So before the break, we were talking about the entrepreneurship initiative that Business Tech undertakes every year. And where are we springboarding from there, Mr. O'Leary?
Well, we're going to kick it right back to Miss T. And there's a couple other, I think, cool things going on.
There's still more from Business Tech.
Still more. We are very, very proud of our students.
How proud? How proud are you? Very proud.
We instituted a certification process for Microsoft Office at the start of last year. And one of the requirements were for our students.
That was actually one of the first conversations you and I had when I became principal. That's right.
Yep, I remember that. So last year and this year were our kind of testing years, and we are very proud to say that 18 of our 20 juniors and seniors are currently certified in Microsoft Office.
And why is that important? Tell the listeners, why is that a key component?
Obviously, putting it on your resume is one of the most fabulous things that can demonstrate. Our students are going to be working in Microsoft Office when they get out in the field.
Okay.
Employers see that they've already passed a certification. They don't have to worry that the kid coming in is just saying they can do it. They know they can do it.
Super.
It also helps them on the college level.
Okay.
Our students have come back that have been in college and said, they're just whizzing by everybody else because other students do not know the technology. So that's been super. Also, 19 out of 20 kids passed our OSHA 10 certification. And there's numerous certifications along the way that they can get, but those are our two most important ones.
Excellent.
Yeah, and for the businesses out there and the We2B members and just things we talk about, these are all just credentials that these students put on their resume, and it just makes them so marketable, whether it's college, career, or both. And again, we hear it all the time from our partners with Aero and G&E, and how great these kids are and how the competencies they have are IT folks and manufacturing, and the list goes on and on. So we're doing real applicable stuff at the high school level here at the academy.
And the kids are crushing it every day.
They certainly are.
Every day.
They sure are.
Yeah.
It amazes me. I talk to people and I show our portfolios that these kids create. And students, even at the career fair yesterday, I showed a few employers. They looked at it and they said, I wish somebody showed me how to do this in high school.
Sure.
They're envious of what our students actually are getting.
Yeah. Hey, Jasmine, you're on co-op.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Where are you?
I work at the Westfield Gas and Electric downtown.
Okay.
Right now, I'm doing my training downstairs as a customer service rep. So I work my own window and take payments for customers. But I guess I'm moving upstairs to the accounting and finance department.
Promotion, if you will, Mr.
Yeah.
O'Leary.
Yeah, so
You like crunching numbers
Yeah.
and doing that kind of thing?
So right now they share custody of me technically, so it's like back and forth.
Shared custody.
Yeah, that's what they say to me.
Oh, that's great, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice cross-training, too.
Yeah.
I mean, companies love when their employees
It's
know
nice
how
to be wanted by a lot of different people, isn't it?
and have knowledge in multiple departments.
That's true.
That's huge.
Yeah, the downstairs is once I know the whole prospect of downstairs, I'm able to move upstairs because I need to know the whole picture of everything that goes
Sure.
on.
Wait, people still come in and pay bills?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so you're liking it though?
Yeah.
G&E?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
know-
shout out to Beth and
Beth
John,
Burns, right.
John
Yep.
O'Leary, and all the
one of the
folks.
things that we were talking about just a few minutes ago was that Jasmine had the opportunity while she was in shop to go through some mock interviews.
Sure.
We thought they were mock interviews. Well, that ended up being her interview for her co-op
That's right.
position.
Yeah.
So Beth Burns, Arrow Fastener was there, Westfield Bank was there, and they all came in and interviewed our juniors for practice, but they
Mhm.
certainly ended up with co-op jobs from
Yeah.
that. And that was a great stepping stone. And then while Jasmine and Jordan were in shop, their next step before they went out on co-op, they worked for the tech center for the city. They might be able to tell you a little bit about that. They said that was an enjoyable
Yeah, what was that
experience.
special project? Saving the taxpayers some moolah.
I didn't envy what they were doing because I've done that in my past life
Yeah.
in the tech center.
Somebody's got to do it.
It's a lot of just repetitive work.
So what did you guys have to do?
We did quite a lot in one day. We had to basically, there were multiple schools. There was the high school, WTA, there was North Middle, South Middle, and we had to take all the Chromebooks out, and it was for MCAS for the kids.
Oh,
So they
wow.
had to be programmed.
Yeah.
before
Right, so
they went
just
out
so that the listeners have some context, this year, the MCAS 2.0 from grades 3 to 8 is a computer-based test. This is the last year at the high school level that it's still a paper-based test, but the preferred testing instrument is a Chromebook. So that's just so that they have a little context about what that's all about.
And guess what? That's what they're talking about in the next hour.
Oh, great.
Ooh.
Piggyback, if you
But,
will.
this is huge because if you guys didn't do it, it would have.
It would not have gotten done.
Yeah, it would have impacted someone. It's
That's right.
And a lot of people don't realize that. So, thank you. We have something else you can put on your resume.
That's right.
So while we did that, we had to take them out and we had to program them. So we had barcode scanners, and we would have a piece of paper that had 2 different barcodes for the username and password to log in. And me and Jasmine got through about how
Probably
many?
almost 200.
Yeah, almost 200 Chromebooks in
Wow.
a day, and we did it for 2 days, 6 hours or 6.5 hours a day, and it was a lot.
That is a lot.
But it was
Yeah.
well worth it
Yeah.
for
Working
everyone
under
who
pressure.
needed it.
That's excellent. And Anastasia's not here today, but
She is not.
Where's Anastasia co-oping?
Oh, you've caught me off guard.
I know. Is it one of our
Wow.
manufacturing? Is it IPI? Why?
DAS.
We got so many kids on co-op.
That's the hard.
Right, there's so
it's
many kids on
remembering,
Yeah, I
co-op.
know.
I can't.
She's not at Arrow, is she?
She's at a security company. And I
DAS.
can't
Oh,
think of-
DAS.
Yes,
DAS.
DAS
Who
security.
also co-ops with our electrical.
Right.
It's a relatively new co-op for us,
Right.
so you caught me a little bit off guard there.
Yeah,
Mr.
that was this year.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've already gone through all the vetting for Corey and all that. So
Right.
to do her co-op was it was a piece of cake.
Right.
Just a couple documents and off she was going. So
And same experience as Jasmine, because I've talked to Anastasia. Seems like they started her off on the ground level,
Yeah.
watching, learning, which is perfect. And now she's moving into different areas and experiencing different things. But that's another kid that really took the initiative. She went and visited the company with Mrs. Falsetti. They gave her a job application. Didn't say whether to bring it back or not. Anastasia on her own said, "I'm filling it out. I'm bringing it back."
Yeah.
When she brought it back, she made the connection.
Yeah.
So
she
that
does
was
our
great.
morning announcements.
And paid off.
Oh,
It
she's
paid off.
phenomenal.
Great having
like
these-
I said at FBLA, whenever I handed her that paper for that competition, it just blew me away that she did anything with it, because I think the normal person would have said, oh my God, what do I do? And she just figured it out and did it.
Yeah, it's amazing. What would be very overwhelming to us is just kind of like second nature to them, which is a tribute to, again, yet another tribute to our students. Sadly, producer Pete is giving me a signal that our time together has come to an end. We want to thank Karen Taberski and our students from Business Tech for joining us. We want to wish everybody a safe and enjoyable vacation next week. For those of you who are taking a vacation, we'll look forward to being back with you on Thursday, August 26th. I see on the horizon there that our Special Education Director, Dr. Martha Von Meering, is joining Chris Rogers as guest host this morning. So I'm going to invite everybody to stay tuned for the Superintendent's Spotlight. Don't miss an hour of bliss with Martha and Chris. Have a great day, everyone.
WSKB's programming is generously underwritten by Whip City Fiber, Westfield Gas and Electric, where they offer gigabit internet speed. Whip City Fiber, turning Westfield's neighborhoods into fiberhoods. On the web at whipcityfiber.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
That's a sex machine to all the chicks. You're damn right. Who is the man risk his neck for his brother, man. Can you dig it? Who's the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about? Right on. You see, this cat chef is a bad mother. Shut your mouth. What I'm talking about, Chef? We can dig it. He's a complicated man, but no one understands him but his woman. John Chef.
Good morning to Superintendent Spotlight with Zap and Chris, broadcasting live from the beautiful Tiger's Pride restaurant at Westfield Technical Academy. Pete, how we doing this morning?
We're doing pretty good, actually.
Did you notice the sun's out?
I did. So what is this, 2?
I don't even know what our streak is now. Was I even here last week? Yeah, I was.
Yes,
right?
you were.
I was here last week.
Yeah,
so
it was a reunion of sorts.
That's right. So we had 2 sunny Thursdays in a row.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. It's a sunny 43 degrees in Westfield, and I did hear we might have some rain, though, this afternoon, right in time for Little League practice, so I'm hoping that's not the case.
Showers.
Little showers.
Yeah, nothing major.
Well, Superintendent is not with us this morning, so my co-host today is Dr. Martha Von Mering, our Director of Special Education. Martha, how are we doing this morning?
Good, very well. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, it's a pleasure that you're co-hosting with me this morning. And Joe Langoni did say in the last hour to close the show that instead of Superintendent Spotlight,
it's your hour of bliss with Martha and Chris.
An hour of bliss indeed.
Oh, my goodness, that's a lot to follow.
Hey, I was going to say, and again, we just keep bringing this up every week. It's like Zap and I, when's the last time, Zap and I have hosted together 2 weeks in a row? I don't even know.
Yeah, when you guys together, I should change the theme to Welcome Back or something like that.
That's a great idea. That's a great
This time of year is very difficult with scheduling.
Yeah, but you know what? We really don't have it is our schedules, but we don't have a great excuse. We need to bring the team back together again to close the year. Not that I don't love having Martha with us this morning, and having Denise with us is always a pleasure. So one of our other co-hosts is here this morning, Mrs. Denise Rosala, our Director of Assessment and Accountability. Good morning, Denise.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. It's a little weird being in this seat now. I'm a guest.
Yeah, she's a guest.
I keep hopping. I was co-host last week, guest this week, but I love coming to the show.
Yay, Denise.
Hi, Martha.
Right, and I just want to point out for some of our future shows, on May 3rd, I'm a guest again. I'll be here, but I'll be a guest.
Right.
Just keep
It is a different feeling sitting in a different seat for that.
But who else do we have with us today, Denise? Who else is joining us this
today our topic
morning?
is going to be MCAS. So I brought 2 wonderful people on my team that I could not do any of this work without. Mr. Mark Voca, who is our data specialist, and Richard Anderson from the Technology Center. And so we're going to talk a little bit about our joint efforts working together with the Technology Center to prepare our students' devices and equipment for MCAS testing.
That sounds great. Mark, good morning. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Doing well. Tribe 1.
And for those that don't know, when we get to sports in segment 3, Mark's a big Cleveland Indians fan. And of course, we all know that Boston and New York are playing in the middle of a 3-game set right now, but we're not going to talk about that.
By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but 2 of the young ladies that were up here did co-ops at the Tech Center, or an internship at the Tech Center. And they said they were talking about helping to prepare a lot of the Chromebooks for MCAS testing.
That's outstanding.
So you guys had even had a nice lead-in, too.
Absolutely. And from our Tech Center, Mr. Richard Anderson. Richard, how are we doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good. So let's talk a little bit about MCAS and some of our online testing and where we're at. it's this time of year, Mrs.
Yes.
Rosala, isn't it?
It is, and we are fast and furious. So we wanted to just explain what this next generation MCAS is for the listeners. And basically the legacy MCAS, which is our old MCAS, is nearly 20 years old. And the new MCAS was... The legacy MCAS was not designed to measure readiness for college and career success. So the new MCAS is aligned to our Common Core, has more rigorous standards, and it really focuses on critical thinking and the application of knowledge and making those connections between reading and writing. And it really will provide us clearer data for readiness for the next grade level. And it is designed to be on the computer. And as you know, DESE is transitioning districts to computer-based testing. Last year, we phased in grades 4 and 8. That was required. This spring, DESE is expecting grades 4 and 5 and 7 and 8 to do ELA and math. But Westfield has decided through consultation with our tech center and our schools that we are ready for grades 3 through 8 to do online. So we plunged in to grades 3 through 8, and that's why I brought these two gentlemen with me, because it would not have been possible without their support working together. And also, grade 10 is going to be piloting the MCAS. ELA will be doing... WTA, Westfield Technical Academy, will do ELA, and the high school will be doing math, and only 25% of the students. So it's a small pilot group that will be working and testing, and those are coming up. The MCAS window literally is from April through May. In April, all of our schools will pretty much be doing the ELA testing, and in May, we'll be doing math and science. So parents out there, if you don't know that schedule, please contact your schools.
Absolutely.
Because these schools set up their individual schedules, and they should have informed the families in that. So families will be participating in testing.
You bring up a good point, because the windows with MCAS now are literally 2 months. Where with the old legacy MCAS, we'd have basically a couple of weeks,
Correct.
a shorter amount of time to get what we needed to get done in. And as a building principal, that was actually a little bit easier, knowing that smaller window. That's when I've got to get my testing done. That's when my kiddos have to be, taking their tests. Now it's kind of wide, and
and the reason I think for that is for the online devices and
Absolutely.
Coordinating that. So. I just want people to imagine, with the legacy tests, boxes and boxes and boxes would come to our building of paper-based tests. And there was work that had to be done beforehand, putting student labels on these tests and preparing them, and that. Online testing poses a completely different behind the scenes. So what I want is Mark and Richard to discuss the behind the scenes, because before our children sit down and open up that Chromebook or that laptop and click on and the program comes, there is an immense amount of work that needs to take place. So I would have maybe Mark start, because we get the email with the student PAN and all of that, which is the network. So I'm going to have him explain all that stuff.
Sure. So what we normally happens is in October, the process starts in October when we do a SIMS collection, which is the Student Information Management System collection that we are required to provide to the state a couple times a year. The October one sets the baseline roster for who we're going to test in April and May. The trouble is we have a lot of mobility in Westfield. Not the trouble everywhere is that there's mobility. I mean, it's not just Westfield. It's a larger district, so there is mobility.
And they come from another district. Yep.
Absolutely. So in order to reconcile the rosters, what we have to do is we have to go into Power School, which is how we manage our student information for all the students in the district, and extract the students that have entered the district after October 1st, and then at that time make that one big roster of students, and then we have to, at that point, get ready for sessions. So what used to be booklets and boxes of booklets that are assigned to teachers and everything was coded on a barcode and hard-coded that way, we control that option now. So what we do is we take those, then we go back to our Power School application and grab all the homeroom teachers for each of these students. We match those up, and then we do an exchange of files with the principals, and we work with them so that we can create a session, which is a student and a teacher and basically a room.
And those are testing sessions for
absolutely.
students. So, for example, ELA has like 2 testing sessions. So that's when he's referring to what a session is.
Yeah, I mean, and without getting too nuanced, I mean, the context, there's several contexts of session for MCAS, and it's kind of strange because they say session interchangeably, but each test itself, the MCAS ELA test, will have 2 sessions, and then they call a session a group of students with a teacher taking an assessment. So ELA has a session, session 1, session 2. Math has ELA session 1, session, or math session 1, session 2. So there's a bunch of sessions, but it's really trying to put the kid with the teacher and the room, so that what we have to do then is get the principals to add any things. We also have accommodations and students with accommodations, and in that case, what we need to do is provide that file to the principals and to the special education department. And what they do is they comb through all the records and give the students the accommodations that they require through 504.
Martha, might be able to speak briefly to that, because the accommodations are really a joint effort of the special ed supervisors working with the building principal to identify the children.
Correct. So what typically happens would be within the individual education plan team, they would determine what the accommodations would need to be for that particular student and get that into the individual education plan. The parent then signs it, comes back, and then they work with the special education department, the supervisors, the evaluation team leaders, the special education liaisons, to make sure that the accommodations are given to the students as required by their individual education plan.
Right, and we know that they need a paper base. If for paper-based tests, some children need actually a paper base, and then computer-based accommodations, and there are both that could be applicable to both.
Correct.
Or just one to the other. So
yes.
All right, great, thank you, Mark.
So yeah, the types of and what's important is that the special ed staff and the student services staff and the principals that work with the accommodations in the system, it's important to get those in and get them right, not only because it's an accommodation, but because the computer itself, the computer-based test, actually behaves differently relative to accommodations. So there's accommodations like a human read aloud, which would allow us to put groups or single students with a teacher who has, or a proctor that has a test that's in the same sequence as all the students, because normally tests are randomized sequence. They have text-to-speech, where the student requires the graphics, the text on the screen to be done.
And I know when we did a presentation to the school committee, a lot of those accommodations are now called universal features, so that they're available to all students. And then there's others that are specifically have to be identified through their IEP, these accommodations, because I know parents were concerned about online testing and what was available. So, our children, there's universal features that are for all. Like if you need a highlighter, it's available.
Absolutely. Once we get all the accommodations right, the rosters are stable, and all the accommodations are entered. And these things are fluid, right? So they're going to move kind of between administrations. A student's IEP could change during the middle of testing. We would have to accommodate that. So it's fluid. So there's always maintenance going on. It's not like we just put the file in and then everything's good to go. Because again, it's 60 days. A lot can happen in 60 days of testing.
Sure.
But the day of the test, what they have to do then is for each of these sessions, and just for context, we had it's about 2,400 students tested in ELA. We had about 2,400 testing in math and 800 in science.
And how many sessions? So if I'm a student taking all 3 tests, how many sessions would I be taking? Like 2, 4, 6 sessions total? Tests?
So 2, yes, exactly. If I'm an 8th grader, I would take 6.
Correct.
Because we use sessions in different ways. So in order to do that, we created about 500 sessions total for the district. So discrete sessions, there are 500 that we're managing at any given time, and we know who's in them, what's going on with them. And teachers, we have to go in and print tickets, and that's how the kids log in. So there's
this test ticket, it has a special code that when the student sits down at the computer. So I'm just trying to help listeners understand what a test ticket is. It's a ticket for them to enter to get into a session.
Absolutely, and that just it gives them their credentials and authorizes them to go in. And then Pearson, who's the testing contractor, knows exactly what test to send and what accommodations go along with that test. The night before the test, usually that morning, the principal prepares the test, and then teachers control the testing when it's happening. So they're unlocking the test and they're starting the test, and as students take it, they finish their sub-session, as it were, and then they can lock it so kids can't log in later.
This is new for our teachers too, who normally would get a script. They still get a script, but the whole process of starting those sessions and closing those sessions, I want to give a shout out to Mark, because he inadvertently has trained and prepared manuals for all of the teachers, to do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we did about 30, we trained 30 principals and assistant principals that were test administrators and over 200 teachers and proctors to be able to administer the test. Now, that's all the fun stuff, right? In the background, during this whole time, that's where we rely on the tech center, and the teamwork there has been amazing, because without infrastructure...
Mark and Richard are on speed dial to each other,
and we will... We're gonna really focus in on that on session 2, but it's amazing. It's 9:20 already. It's time for our first break. 43 degrees here at Tigers Pride.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donuts Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
And we're back with Superintendent Spotlight with Zap and Chris, but today we are affectionately known as An Hour of Bliss with Martha and Chris. And something happened. We went up 3 degrees in that little commercial break there, Pete. I got sunny and
Something big and yellow outside might be helpful with that.
All this hot air.
Yeah, well, that's it too, Martha, probably. But has spring sprung? We're about to find out. Today we're up to 56. Tomorrow looks like sunny and 69, Pete. Saturday maybe up to 74.
Yay.
And rainy, yes.
But rain on opening day for Little League? No.
No, I don't know. Is it Sunday is going to rain? Saturday night into Sunday morning.
All right. Well, we have the parade, Westfield Little League's annual parade Saturday morning, through downtown Westfield and, going from South Middle to Cross Street. Always a huge day in Westfield. Little League has always been huge in our city as baseball is as a whole. But more on that in segment 3. But, Martha, we've got some things going on in the district, don't we, over the next couple of days, too?
We do. We have some upcoming events. Who is not excited for April vacation next week? April 16th.
I don't know. I'm working.
Oh, the 16th through the 20th?
Yeah, we're working, so
No excitement.
it will be nice.
Sorry about that, Richard.
Sorry about that, guys. Yes.
Sorry.
But the children are excited, and the
Yes,
children
they are.
are excited.
Absolutely. And so that is next week, the 16th through the 20th. We also have our early release school day on Friday, May 4th.
Right.
Now, it looks like I see something down here. North Middle School has a spring concert, woohoo, coming up on May 17th at 7 p.m. Again at North Middle School, their spring concert.
And I just want to comment that I was at South Middle School's spring band concert, as well as the Bantastic event that took place last week as part of Westfield Into the Arts. Truly, truly amazing. A shout out to all our music program across the district. All our bands and choruses are doing a remarkable job.
Absolutely. Music is an amazing thing. And looks like tomorrow, Friday, April 13th, Paper Mill Elementary School. Shout out to them. They are having a school-wide salute to Teamwork Day. Students and staff are going to be wearing their favorite team shirts and working on teamwork concepts like cooperation and responsibility through PBIS. That's Positive Behavior Intervention Supports, and lessons on and baseball-related themes. So shout out again to Paper Mill.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a great, I love when our schools do these types of pieces, when they focus on teamwork, when they focus on leadership, and when we have school spirit days and kids are wearing their favorite teams or their favorite colors or whatnot. It really does. I can tell you from my experience as a principal, it really does set a nice tone for the building, and hopefully there'll be a couple of Yankees and maybe even an Indian shirt or two in there, Mark. Who knows,
Well,
right?
teamwork is so important to you in life. I mean, for example, when we turn this back over to Richard
Great lead-in.
and Mark, that's what I'm picking up on this. It was a team effort for us to do this and that. So, we cannot do it without the tech center and the schools, and we need to collaborate and communicate constantly. So, teamwork are skills that kids need to have. They'll use them as adults.
Right, and that, that also reminds me, next week, we talked about April break. Pete, we're going to have a best of show because
correct.
Both the boss and I will not be working next Thursday. But then the following week after that, speaking of teamwork, we have Eileen Flaherty, our athletic director from Westfield High School and Westfield Technical Academy. She'll be here giving us an update on spring school sports.
Cool.
In our district. So without further ado, talking about that teamwork, Richard, let us know how the Tech Center's been able to help support our schools in our MCAS online assessments.
Well, I think on listening to Mark in the previous segment, I believe he has all the work. He did all the hard work. All I did was just to make sure the devices are up and running. But in a nutshell, I think for us from the Tech Center, the ability to get all the devices into a testing mode and the difference between previous years that we were doing online testing is that it is somewhat easier now to manage because majority of the testing were done on Chromebooks. And Chromebooks are literally just a few clicks away of putting them into a testing mode. And the testing mode, basically what it is it's a chaos mode. So once the device turns on, it automatically goes into the test nav. So the students can't exit out of it. And if they try to do it, it just literally just recycle itself back in there again. And then the teacher who's invigilating will know exactly, oh yeah, Johnny or Mary decided that, hey, I came out of it. So that's the beauty about it. And an infrastructure test, I think when Mark and I decided that to get it started, we had issues. And I think with everything technology, there will always be issues. So, but that basically just paved the way for less issues when the actual testing time came around. So we'll be able to identify the caching servers that we have. And the caching server basically is that it will take all of the data for the particular test at each school and keep them locally. So the students on the devices, the devices doesn't have to then go to Pearson's site to get all the content and then back to the local device in order for the kids to work seamlessly. So the caching server just basically capture all of that information, have it locally, so it's faster to serve data locally among each school building than to go external and then back internal. So once we sorted that out, then the nightmare was practically over.
And can I just clarify for the listeners, an infrastructure trial is like a dress rehearsal.
Yes.
Where we get students in a lab and they prepare these devices and they take a practice test per se. So they get to, it's kind of a comfortable thing for the students as well as helping Mark and Richard be able to detect anything that may be something they would have to correct.
And I think that the test was just basically to see what errors we may get, what problems we may run into, and try and fix the problems beforehand.
And when Richard's referring to this proctor caching, if a student is taking a test and we do have something that happens as a power outage or internet goes down, the children don't lose their work.
Yes.
They only will, if we had to restart the computer, if they were on a certain question, it would start back to that question. So I know that's a worry to a lot of parents. Like, if something were to happen, is my kid going to have to take the test all over again? So these are terms that I've learned through working with these gentlemen.
Not only that, but I believe, and Mark can correct me if I'm wrong, that Pearson also has the status on where the students are at if there's an issue. So if there's an issue that is beyond our ability to fix and we have to contact Pearson, they also have the data exactly where that individual student is, and then they'll be able to correct it.
Correct.
And we had an issue like that, but again, for us it's a learning process, and with all things technology, you can plan for everything, and unfortunately something always happens that is completely beyond your control, because infrastructure tests is just to literally gear us towards whatever may happen. But at times, as in sports, you may plan and have a game plan and
Absolutely.
You go and to execute it, something happens that is just outside of the scope of what you planned for.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, we had a few issues like that during the actual testing, but we were able to correct it within a relatively short period of time. And, shout out to Paul at South Middle.
Principal Newton.
Principal Newton, yeah.
But the good thing is that we were able to identify the problem and fix it and then move forward.
And we're learning these things, and as we're planning, we're discussing, like, what we have learned is that on day one of testing, you may not want to test 500 kids or 400 kids, all at once. You may want to stagger things. So as we are participating in this, we're getting feedback from the buildings, from the tech center, from Mark, and we come up with a list, and every year we'll look at them, and it just helps us to better prepare.
Well, and again,
and other districts are doing the same. They're
Right.
This is what we learned from taking on this massive feat.
And I think it's fair to note that DESI's contractor, Pearson, has done an amazing job. And it's always easy to pick on the big ones, right? And say, hey, but they've mitigated 99% of all issues. So most issues that happen, you can immediately diagnose locally. Now, it's not easy, because is it application, is it network, is it test session? There's lots of things. But don't forget, they're not just testing Westfield.
Right.
They're testing
the
every
whole
district in
Commonwealth of
Massachusetts all at the same time,
So
and
they
they're all pumping
encountered-
through. And they sit in our little cache servers, and they shoot down to San Antonio into a data warehouse that's huge. When I was stationed down in San Antonio, that building at Pearson was probably the size of Franklin Avenue.
Right.
Franklin Avenue School, and now it's 15 of the high schools is the size of the data center for Pearson.
Wow.
And they do an amazing job of getting that streamlined and making sure that the technical side of this is taken care of. So you almost know that it's not the test. When somebody calls and says that the student can't log in because the ticket doesn't work, it's operator error.
Right.
100% of the time, the tickets work. So
Right.
it's interesting.
And
But
so,
they
like,
do a
our
great
first
job.
week of testing is really busy and lots of calls and that. But lately, knock on wood, it's been fairly quiet. So that's a good thing.
Each school gets into a rhythm as they start to do these. It's intimidating the first year for all of us, and this is the first year really, because last year was just 2 of the grades.
Right.
So
You just did
this
2 grades last year.
And we try to tell the principals and the test administrators and the teachers, you're going to get into a rhythm of this, and once you get that down,
It's
it'll
like the
be
paper box
very
is coming in. They know what to do,
Right.
and they, so it is. And I'm just really proud
And
that
I
we
think also
took
is
that
the fact
on.
that with technology, as soon as you get it correct, it works.
Right.
And with
Right.
technology, it's one or two outcomes. Is it working or it's not working?
That's pretty much
It's binary.
Right,
code,
it's 0 and
So-
1. It's yes
so-
or no.
Right.
Right. It's it. There's no middle ground.
So the good thing is that once the first day of testing is always the most problematic.
Of course.
Because that is when you'll find whatever errors that may come in. It could be from whatever end, user, technology, hardware, but you tend to find out all of the problems then. And going forward, you find that the issues become less and less and less. Now, you take a survey of exactly what issues each schools are having, and you can say that you're lucky if this is 0.5%. Yesterday at one school, they had an issue with a Chromebook. It literally just lost the Wi-Fi and it came back. And the student didn't lose their data. As a matter of fact, Pearson didn't even know that the machine had lost the Wi-Fi.
the connection.
And so therefore the teacher didn't even know that something had happened, and it just started to work again. So it's it will always happen that you have these glitches, and but one more thing I must say is that the bandwidth usage for all the students during the testing period was so low because of the caching server that when South Middle was doing their tests and they had 200 devices, the bandwidth was 34 meg. And for an online test, that is extremely low. I mean, 34 meg is nothing.
When you stream HD, that's 8 meg.
I was going to say HD's 8 meg, right?
Yep, yep.
So, and 4K is twice that.
4K's, at least twice, right?
So,
Yeah.
so 200 kids doing a test at 34 meg, and the reason why we have that low bandwidth usage is because of the caching server. It literally just sucked every data really relating to the tests that they have and distribute them locally. So our internal bandwidth was high, but external bandwidth was non-existent.
Wow.
So and with that in mind, going forward, if we have an entire school district on with a caching server, we probably won't see much effect on students.
We'd be okay.
We
basically.
should be fine.
And that's one of the reasons we consulted with the tech center, and we knew we were poised to go grades 3 through 8. And so we said, if we're poised to do it, why not do it? Give the child,
I think
children,
it was.
an
I think it was the
additional-
right decision.
Their advantage. I mean, these we look at our second graders and third graders. They're so poised for online testing.
Well,
and
I'm glad, Denise, that you brought that up, because I think we've talked so much about the behind the scenes, and we talked about the ins and the outs, or the do's and the don'ts, but I was hoping at one point we talk about how the kids are reacting to online testing.
Our kids are fine.
Yeah, because I think off the air we were talking about it, and then even my son,
me too,
is in second grade, and now he's so comfortable utilizing any device, whether it be a PC, whether it be a Chromebook, to do tests, because as you know, we have SDMAT.
Yes.
And SDMAT have testing at end of each session
Yes,
that they
it does.
have, and therefore, to me, that gears the kids towards doing any online test, because it's going to be very similar. So you have five questions for SDMAT, 5 questions, and you answer the 5 questions.
Right.
And the format is similar, where you choose based on an image or an addition, etc., etc. And
you're right, Mark. I think you were gonna comment on that.
And it's also relative to the investment and the future investment you're going to make in technology and hardware, because I can't say shocked, but for the first year of really having enough Chromebooks to work
Correct.
out, they're being used all the time, and that the what they call assessment preparation or assessment literacy of having students being comfortable with the experience of an online test is just helpful. And the kids really do like it. When I'm out there on the right in the front on the first day of testing, and the kids from each grade level embrace it. I think they like it better than the paper.
Definitely.
And it's it really works well. And the district does it a lot to prepare the students for that.
Yes.
The ELA department, the math department, they do a lot, and I'm sure the science will be doing the same thing, preparing for online assessments.
Well, we do a lot of engaging of the students using the various technologies. I know our pre-K to grade 2, we tend to use more iPads, getting them comfortable with all of that. They go into the computer labs and take ST Math, and then as they move on to grades 3 and 4 and up, they're starting to do Chromebooks and laptop labs and carts and things. So, and they participate in online assessments throughout the school year, many similar to the Pearson platform. So, and we're teaching those digital literacy skills in the classrooms. So to the children, they're fine. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter that can pick up a device and use it. So I think it's been more of a challenge for us to help teachers and administrators.
I think it's the
shift
older folks
into this, online world of assessment.
Right.
But after their first administration last year, the grades 4 and 8 said, "Oh my gosh, we love this."
Absolutely.
And I guarantee you, after this, the teachers will be sitting there saying, "Wow, this is the best." It's a lot of heavy lifting in the front end, but at the when it's done, it's it's very fulfilling. It's like a celebration. Like, wow, we actually did this, and we don't have to pack up boxes and send them all back.
And their performance didn't suffer on the test.
No,
because we only did 2 grades last year, and their performance
We
was
can
actually
talk
a little
bit
spiked.
about that. The data between online and
Sure, and we can talk
paper-based.
And we'll get into that on segment 3 right after we do our weekly dive into sports. Time for a break. 9:43, 47 degrees. Superintendent Spotlight, broadcasting live from Tigers Pride.
Move yourself. You always live your life, never thinking
WSKB's programming is generously underwritten by Whip City Fiber, Westfield Gas and Electric, where they offer gigabit internet speed. Whip City Fiber, turning Westfield's neighborhoods into fiberhoods. On the web at whipcityfiber.com. Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Underwriting for Community Radio is provided by the YMCA of Greater Westfield. Every day, the YMCA strengthens the community through programs and services focused on youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. For all the Y's many programs and services, visit us on the web at www.westfieldymca.org. The YMCA, 67 Court Street in downtown Westfield. We're more than a gym. We're a cause. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
And we're back with Superintendent Spotlight with Zap and Chris in our weekly sports update. And folks, just to know, our spring sports are off and running, but the weather has been a little uncooperative at times. So far, as of yesterday, Westfield baseball had only played once. They're 1-0. Our Tech Academy baseball team hasn't played yet. In terms of softball, girls are 1-2 at Westfield High. Westfield Tech 1-0. Boys lacrosse at Westfield High 2-0. Girls lacrosse at 1-1. Our boys volleyball team continues to impress at 4-0. Girls track and field, boys track and field, they've yet to open up, but we've got meets coming up soon. Boys tennis for Westfield High 1-0. Girls tennis, they've yet to get a match going. Yesterday, softball, Westfield girls defeating West Springfield 4-1, and our Westfield Technical Academy girls defeating Renaissance 19-7. Good work.
Wow.
Again, we talked about boys volleyball. They swept West Springfield 3-0 yesterday. Again, what a program they've built up. Great work, guys. Keep up the fantastic teamwork. As far as today goes, Westfield High School boys varsity lacrosse hosting Northampton High School today at 4 p.m. Boys varsity tennis up at Mohawk Trail Regional at 3:30. Girls varsity tennis hosting Amherst today at 4. Boys junior varsity lacrosse again hosting Northampton High. And tomorrow, boys varsity volleyball again trying to move to 4-0. They're going to be at Chicopee Comp at 5. Boys JV volleyball as well at Chicopee Comp at 4. Westfield Technical Academy tomorrow. Boys varsity baseball, all right, hosting Southwick Regional here at WTA at Bullens at 4 p.m., while girls varsity softball goes up to Gateway for a 4 o'clock matchup. And boys junior varsity baseball also hosting Southwick tomorrow at 4 p.m. at Yackham Field. And there is a little 3-game series going on between the boys in blue, the New York Yankees, and those Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park, Pete.
The rivalry is back.
It's back, right?
They're a little testy yesterday.
Well, a lot of runs scored over the first couple of games, and then tempers flaring last night at Fenway. It was almost like a flashback to like 2004
right.
or 1978 or I mean, it was old school Yankees and Red Sox last night.
They'll fill the stadiums this year.
Yeah,
because they're playing hard against each other. They know they're the top two teams in the American League East.
Yeah, and I've got to give Boston all kinds of credit. Their start's been tremendous at 9-2. We're at 6-6, 3.5 games up. But you know who needs a real shout out? My second favorite team needs a real shout out.
Who's that?
The New York Mets are 10-1 right now. Unbelievable, leading the National League East.
And
Mark,
if you're
how's the Tribe doing?
Wait a minute, if you're a long-suffering Mets fan like the Delisles, you'll be crying in September.
Well, I think the Mets are for real this year. I really do.
Are you sure? Because wasn't the last season they said they were for real too, and what happened?
Yeah, but I do think the Mets have a good
Right,
ball
you'll be
club
crying
this
in
year.
September.
Right.
I agree. I mean, I do like the Mets.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, not the Yankees.
Well,
but
it's a long season. Right, Mark, how's the Tribe doing?
7-5.
7-5.
Playing in 24-degree weather every day out on the lake. I've been to plenty of those games, snowing in April. But we've got something that Boston and New York really doesn't have. We've got amazing pitching. Beyond.
That's always a good thing to have.
You know, we give up one run a game. No, it's not really. They got a lot of good pitchers. We can't hit a lick, but we have good pitchers.
And again, as I tell everybody, the baseball season, everybody knows, is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's only April. We're in the midst of the Bruins.
1/16 of the season has been played.
And the Bruins are opening up tonight against Toronto. Correct. NHL playoffs.
Yep. Ohio State spring football's next week. Come on, Ralph's here. We can talk.
Anyway, NFL draft in a couple of weeks. NBA playoffs are about to set to kick off.
The Champions League football, Liverpool.
So Richard's talking soccer down there.
So is Patrick, though. So is
the
Patrick.
Masters just came and went. So there's a lot going on this time of year, and hopefully, like I said, the sun continues to come out, and spring is on the horizon, and of course it brings all kinds of spring sports. And again, best of luck to all of our boys and girls teams at the high school and the technical academy. You guys and girls always do us proud. So Denise, or actually Martha, can we talk a little about what's going on at Westfield Tech today?
Yeah, because we are sitting in the Tigers Pride and they're getting ready for lunch.
I know. I'm getting so
at Martha,
excited.
trying to see what's
going on. Well, at Westfield Tech Academy, Tigers Pride today, Thursday the 12th, they are having their amazing buffet. It is going to be classic French cuisine, and I can hardly wait. I'm already seeing a lot of the desserts, and they've got a little Eiffel Tower set up. It's adorable. Yeah, I want to come back.
Right, and just a reminder, folks, it's open to the public. I got to be honest, their buffet is the best deal in town.
It rivals any restaurant.
It absolutely is.
For what you pay at the door, for what our students provide, and what Chef Rogers and Chef Mucciaroni, as they lead the department, and the customer service. I mean, it's the best $8 you can spend. So come on out, support our Tech Academy and our kids and our program. They do a phenomenal job, and they are closed though, right, Martha?
Correct.
They're closed tomorrow.
Yes, they are closed tomorrow, Friday the 13th. They will be closed in anticipation.
They have to clean.
But that's
cleaning,
because of April break. They've got to
April
clean.
vacation.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
So, just to wrap up today, let's close the show on a positive note in terms of the collaboration, with MCAS.
I have another collaborative effort that we can use
Rich.
the last bit of our show with, and I'm sure I want to shout out again. It's a collaborative effort between the Tech Center and the school department. Our office was charged with doing online registration electronic registration for new students, and we pulled that off. It opened up last night. So that was a joint effort between Mr. Volka and Baraka, and maybe at some point we could have Baraka come on the show.
Oh, great idea.
But Mark, why don't you tell us a quick little bit about that? I mean, our parents now can enroll. In fact, you said how many we did this morning? Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, I mean, we opened it yesterday around 1 o'clock, and we've already had about, a dozen, probably more by now. But I went in at 6:30 this morning. I was surprised to see folks had already taken advantage of it. But it is the, as opposed to all the other work that we do that sometimes is transparent to the parent, this one is kind of a good service for the parent. And all the stacks and reams of forms that I've been filling out for my 3 daughters over the course of history, now we figured out how not to do that. So I don't get that benefit, but parents will, and they went through it last night fairly smoothly. It takes about 10, 15 minutes.
Last night we had the kindergarten countdown, and we had, I would say at least 100 parents.
At the Boys and Girls Club.
And they were very excited when they thought they had to get packets in that, and I'm like, no, all you need to do is go online.
Here's your one piece of paper.
And they were like, wow, really? I'm like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the back to school will be the same way. So instead of doing the forms at the end of the year that you do, or the beginning of the year that you do for each student over and over, if you have to, now it's a little bit easier to do. You can do that. So anyway, it was very successful. We worked real hard with the Tech Center to do the mapping to our student information system. Trained the administrators and the secretaries at the schools to how to use it, and it's fairly streamlined. So hopefully the parents will enjoy it, and we'll get good use out of it too. It'll make our data cleaner and offer a good service.
On behalf of the Tech Center, you're welcome.
Shout out to the Tech
No,
Center.
absolutely. You can't do this without
Well,
them.
this is, I think, what our listeners really don't realize. Our department is, assessment and accountability. We kind of do a lot of different projects and we work with the state, we work with the Tech Center, we do a lot of kind of behind the scenes kinds of projects that really make student life and parent life and administrative functionings streamline in that. So I'm very proud to have these gentlemen here because I think you look at online and the link is there and you click, but everything that is on that online registration form had to be vetted, had to be cross-referenced, had to be mapped, I've learned so much through this process working alongside these gentlemen with testing and the Tech Center. And so and I continue to learn daily, that it is a team effort. There is no way that I myself could be doing these or that or the school department.
I'll add that this current school term has been the most involved that the Tech Center has been in terms of the collaboration between the central office and us. In previous years it wasn't so, but now there's a lot of collaboration going on, and I think from our standpoint, the more you get us involved, the more we can guide you to say whether or not these technology will work seamlessly within our environment, and for us that bodes well, because then if we're not involved, it causes problems down the road because incompatibility will come in, and sometimes we can't fix it because we don't know anything about it.
Right. But I want to echo what Denise said too, though. The collaboration has been great. But Denise, we've done a lot of really thanking the Tech Center. Mark's been phenomenal. He presented to us as a leadership team the other day the online registration. But you were tasked with this, okay? As folks that don't know, from our central office administrative team, this was Denise's task, and she has done an amazing job, as has her team, and we wouldn't be where we're at. We've been talking about online reg for a couple of years, folks, and we wouldn't be where we are without Denise's leadership
January, I think
and
it was
Mark's work.
Superintendent says, I want online registration, and I want it open by April. And we were like, okay. And normally, with the vendor, it's like, 120 days or a 90-day minimum project.
Yep.
And we, poor Mark,
we just did it.
We did it.
Just did it.
Absolutely. The vendor was great. They were online constantly, and it's like anything else. You roll up your sleeves, you get the work done, and you do it.
And our secretaries were amazing.
They are
because
amazing.
They're the experts in how students are registered into this district, and by involving them from getting their feedback and trying to work with them, they've been instrumental, because it's not successful until they nod yes. And
I really want to appreciate you saying that, Mark, too. So, folks, I can't believe it. It's 10 o'clock already.
Oh, my goodness.
It has really been an hour of bliss, right, with Martha and Chris this morning. I want to thank Richard and Mark and Denise for being here. Folks, have a fantastic week. In fact, have a fantastic 2 weeks, because next week we have a best of show. And Zap and I will be back on April 26th with Eileen Flaherty talking spring sports in Westfield Public Schools. Take care, everybody.